Hi.
Hello.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
God, I feel like we say the same thing every week, but I really feel like I need this one today. I feel like I've just had one of those weeks, like a real I'm failing life week.
Oh, Erin, that's rubbish. I'm sorry about that. Oh,
No.
I hate those weeks. And it does really it like ripples, doesn't it? It just like completely throws you off.
Yeah, and it's gone into not I'm just failing life week, but my failures, like what impact are they having on like the other people? Because my failures have been like definitely like parenting.
Oh no.
Definitely parenting failures. And I'm like, oh gosh, like that's not just like affecting me, that's affecting like Freddie, Max, like whatever, because I like have. And it's like, it plays in really well to the conversation that we're going to have today because, I know I'm feeling this way because like my hormones are definitely heightened. Not that I haven't been failing at life, but I'm probably feeling much worse about it because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like the conversation we're having today is, certain weeks in the month that you absolutely feel like you're smashing it.
Yeah.
And then some weeks where, it's everything just feels like the worst possible thing is going on, like the weight of the world on your shoulders. And then the week later, you're like strong as anything, like smashing it again.
And it's so weird how it affects different people in different ways. I think there's lots of different symptoms and impacts that actually aren't even typically recognized as part of that kind of hormonal cycle, the whole thing. And it really is under sort of estimated, I guess, on how much it can really throw you off, because like you say, it could be just one experience that you're having, but then it impacts the way that you're kind of like parenting. It impacts the way that you're being, a partner, the way that you're conducting yourself at work.
How short your fuse is. That is a massive thing. And actually, only like on reflection or in hindsight, you can sort of say, oh God, I handled it that way because of that. But in the moment, it's so hard. It's really hard, isn't it?
So tell me, what's in terms of what you've noticed, what is your journey, like monthly journey cycle? Like how does it happen?
Okay. So like week after period, let's start from there and we'll go full circle from there. Like, my absolute boss week.
Totally.
That is my boss week. That's when I'm like, I'm feeling the music, I'm in the gym, like smashing the PBs, like feeling my best self, like I'm vibing in the mirror, like I just feel good, I look good, like confidence, whatever. And that obviously leads into like, then when like you would maybe like go out and like parade yourself around, like you're feeling yourself, like sort of going from like feeling like really super strong, great about yourself, to then wanting to go out and like put yourself out there, like going into like week 2. And then end of like second week going into week 3, that's when I'm starting to be like, I could really do with something to eat.
Yeah.
Or a bit of chocolate, some crisps, like something like that. And I'm sitting there going, why? Why am I doing this to myself? I don't want it, but I can't help myself.
Yeah.
And then I'm like really short fused, really aggy, starting to just look at myself and feel miserable. Bearing in mind 3 weeks ago, I was absolutely loving my life. Now I'm looking at myself in the mirror thinking, what's happened? I look awful. I'm so bloated. All of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then our like fabulous friend comes along and you're like, oh yes, that's
Hello,
my friend. And then you almost feel like cleansed during that week, like everything's out, or toxins are out, everything's out, and then you start again.
Back right at the beginning.
Similar, or is that just my way?
So no. I think in a way I'm kind of similar.
Okay.
So, but it's weird because it's interesting. So my first week post, visit is definitely one of like you kind of, like you say, feel refreshed and you're like, right, let's do it. So I'm more like focused. I'm hyper focused. That's the day when my to-do list is like on point, serving all sorts of like fabulousness. Like I've got my to-do list. Lawrence like hides because I'm like, right, we're going to get on this. And I'm like, right, I'm going to sort this. Whereas like as I go through and I hit the mid-peak, that tends to be for me is like brain foggy.
Oh,
So I just don't know what I'm like literally a zombie. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? The laundry never gets done.
Yeah.
The house doesn't get tidied. Like, it's like I completely lose everything. And then I kind of pick it up mildly and I'm like, okay, this is what normal feels like.
Yeah.
And then we're in.
Yeah.
You know.
That's actually just made me think, because I'm a little bit like that. You said like super focused with like your to-do list. Like somewhere in that first half is when I'm like literally throwing everything out the window. I'm like,
so like that.
Clutter, get rid of it. We need to spring
yeah.
clean. We need to do this.
Yeah.
Like that. And then I sit there at work and I'm like, did I have something I was meant to be doing? Like, God, and I'm so unproductive, like so unproductive.
Have you ever had it? And this is really actually quite pertinent, because actually a couple of my friends, we've literally been talking about this. Do you ever have it at work where you're in that sort of zone where you genuinely, you're staring at your screen and you've got a to-do list, and you can see your to-do list right there in front of you, but you can't do anything?
Yeah.
Because your head's like not functioning.
You're almost like procrastinating, but in a really weird way.
The thing, this is the weird, exactly, it's weird because I don't feel it's procrastination. I know what procrastination is. I'm very good at procrastination. Could be an expert, if some may say. But that to me is different. It's like, there's like someone's put like a jelly block where I'm like, hello, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good at work and I'm trying to be good at home. And then someone's like, nope.
Yeah.
There's like almost like you can kind of hear it, but it's like it's not like a solid
you
wall.
can like see out the corner of your eye that to-do list waving at you, and you're thinking, I could be doing anything.
You could be very organized right over here.
I know, but then I'm so frustrated when I'm looking around. You know, it's not even maybe just the work to-do list, but the home to-do list. And I'm then, as I say, like really frustrated that I haven't got through all of these tasks, which are really annoying me. Yet I just CBA to get them done.
Oh my goodness. This is where we're meant to be, because I'm exactly the same. Lawrence said to me the other day, it's really interesting. I think was it yesterday or the day before? And he said one of the things that really, so I might need to put context to this. Basically, Lawrence and I have this thing called Beefy Mondays, right?
Right, so I'm in my head, I'm thinking a couple of different things there. You're either having a beef roast or someone stinks.
No. So I don't know if you watch Chris and Rosie Ramsey and their podcast, shout out because we love it. And they have these things like What's Your Beef? And it's basically a way for them to completely and honestly and safely explain things that annoy them about each other.
Oh, I love that.
With no kind of particular judgment. I mean, it is very funny. They do it way better than me and Lawrence do it by far in terms of the comedian. But one of the things that we were talking about was he was saying it really annoys him how I'm like, I need a chill day. I need to sit down. I am sick of doing everything. I do everything and I never get any chance to sit down because of you children, you Lawrence, the cat, the work, the car, like everything's in trouble. And then I'm like, I just want one day. And then I'm like, right, Saturday, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to sit on my bum. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch telly. And literally I sit down for 10 minutes, scroll on my phone and I'm off.
Yeah, bored now.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to declutter the entire garage. I'm going to relabel everything. I'm going to reorganize everything. And Lawrence is like, would you just sit down?
Yeah.
And I think that comes from that place where you get so angry at yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can see what needs to be done and you can't seem to do it. And then suddenly when that moment comes in that cycle where you're like, and you're just like attacking everything because you're just so desperate.
Honestly, I was walking around our bedroom like a couple of days ago and I said to Rory, I hate this house. This house annoys me so much. It's so messy. And then I'm looking at my own pile of clothes because we have a wardrobe. I'm guilty. I've always been guilty, ever since as young as I can remember. My mum's always been like, can you not just put your clothes back in the cupboard? I'm really good at putting away laundry. But like when I take my clothes off at the end of the day, I'm like, floor. Floor, done, whatever. And because I'm like, I've only worn that T-shirt for an hour. It doesn't need to go in the washing machine. Can't really worry going back in the drawer yet. So I'm just going to put it on the floor for tomorrow for that hour. I'm going to wear it. So, but then I look at it and it drives me mad. Like, honestly, I just get so frustrated at myself because I think we spoke about this before, I wish I was one of those people that was just like super tidy.
I know, I can actually see it in my mind right now. Sophia's got an entire I would say, laundry mound in her room that's been sat there where I'm like, I don't have the energy, because I don't know about you with the kids, but Sophia likes dressing herself. So, you know, she doesn't understand the concept of folding in piles.
Yeah.
You know, because she's got shelves. Because, you know, this apparently is the way that we find clothes.
Oh, what, like this? The
like,
hands across, opening.
Like, you know, grabbing everything. And so, anyway, like you say, her wardrobe, it tends to be that. So then I have the new laundry plus the wardrobe in this nice mound. And I'm like, I know, because I have to sort out the shelves. And if I have to sort out the shelves, that's going to take me more time. And I can't be bothered to do this all overwhelming process.
We've literally got it in every room, and I try and spread it out to just make myself feel better. So I like keep our stuff in our bedroom. Like the kids' stuff goes in theirs. We've got some that just lives on the stairs that goes up to Freddie's room, and like spreads about small piles here and there. But I think, you know, we'll digress. We'll get back to the conversation in a minute. But I think like me and Rory are both the same people like that. So it's actually even worse. Like it has to get, and I'm probably doing our house a really like bad service right now. It's really not that bad if anybody ever came around. But to me, it feels bad. Like we both like are quite similar in that sense. I'll just pop it on the floor, just pop it like that. And then it has to get to a real point, and then we'll be like, no, clear it up. And it's usually an hour before the cleaner comes. I'm like, quickly, tidy up.
Okay, so you just made me feel so seen, because Lawrence takes the mick out of me so much because I go on a massive tidy before the cleaner comes.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste the time her kind of having to move stuff, like because stuff's in the way, or she won't clean because it's in the way.
Yeah.
I want to be able to kind of like make sure she has like optimized cleaning time.
Optimized surfaces to clean. Yeah, absolutely. We're doing them a favour. Absolutely. We love our cleaning teams. So, right, let me then tell you about my parenting fails of this week. Yeah, so like how we started. So, you'll know the kids at school do show and tell, right? Mm-hmm. We'd known about this show and tell for 2 weeks. So before Easter, we'd found out about this. Like Freddie is an A on the surname, so he's always like first. So we were trying to make up for our last parenting fail from last term, where we didn't get the notification of the show and tell. So Freddie was called up to do his show and tell. He didn't have anything to show. So we sort of hadn't got over that trauma.
Was he upset?
The first thing he said to me when he came out of school was, "You forgot my show and tell."
Oh no.
Right?
So it's very much
and he didn't even know, because where he was the first one, it's not like they'd gone around the cycle of the kids yet.
Yeah, so it's not familiar. Yeah.
So we'd missed that one, so we had to send him in with something the next day, which was fine, sort of saved ourselves. But then I'm thinking, what trauma have we caused there? He's rocked up to do something, doesn't have it. So this time we were gunning for it, like 2 weeks before. What do you want to bring in, Freddie? Let's think of something to show. Chose his monster truck, loves it. We're like, that's brilliant choice. We've been planning it. You know, Rory had been charging it, you know, telling Freddie that, you know, this is something you can say about this truck. It doesn't take batteries. It charges by USB-C. Like Freddie was prepped, like well versed.
Love it.
Right?
Yes.
Takes it in the bag. And then end of the day, I said to him, how did your show and tell go? Yeah, it was good, but it didn't work. I was like, what do you mean it didn't work? He was like, it didn't work. And I was like, well, Daddy, you charged it. Like, what do you mean? And then Rory came home and Rory was like, no, it definitely worked, Freddie. Did you turn it on? And then about an hour later, I got a notification off my phone where they'd uploaded the show and tell, as they do. They film it and they put it on the app. So you're watching it. Lovely. He's doing a great job, like showing the monster truck to the class, first of all.
Cute,
like, he flicks the button and it does some sound. Then explaining it, answering questions. The teacher then goes, Freddie, do you want to show us how it works? He was like, yeah. And then puts it on the floor, turns it on, bless him. Stands there with the remote controller and it's not doing anything. Me and Rory are watching this video, like looking at each other. He like tries again. Teacher comes over. Freddie, have you turned it on? Yeah, I have turned it on. You know, all of this. And the kids are like, no, turn it on. Like that sort of stuff. And I can like just see in Freddie's face. Right, this went on for ages, like way too long. Rory was like, I can't watch it anymore. Can't watch it anymore. Go away. Can't. And I could see it in his eyes. Like he just couldn't watch his son on video, like struggle like that. The teacher saved it. Like she really just saved it. And in the end, the kids just gathered round and had to look at it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, so we basically just didn't charge or put batteries in the remote controller or something had like happened.
So we still don't know
I don't know. I don't think we've got quite to the bottom of it yet. But regardless, our like use error on parent side here. We didn't check it before, and I'm thinking he's 5. Like I've like really like vividly remember being that sort of age and like the impact of like the other kids, and we've spoken about that already. But and I'm like, God, that's really awful. Like whatever. Right, first parenting fail of the week, Monday. So this is like peak. And then Tuesday, oh goodness, the weather is so warm. Like we're going to have to start bringing our hats in.
Mm-hmm.
Like gathering around like, where's the summer hat? Where's the summer hat? They got the school summer hats, you know this, right? Can't find the summer hat. I can find a dozen winter hats. Love nor money, I've got a winter hat for you. No summer hat. I search high and low. And I swear to you, I remember hanging the summer hat on the same hanger as the summer shorts. So I thought, these aren't going to be needed for another year.
Yeah. Yeah.
No summer hat. Send them in, no summer hat, right? Messaging, like, has anyone got a spare hat? Message the school uniform shop. Do you have a summer hat? Lost property, do you have a summer hat? Whatever, no, nothing. I have to send him in with this other hat, which isn't a school hat. And I'm thinking, now my kid is going to be the only kid in school walking around in a hat, which isn't his hat. Awful. Then what else happened? What happened after that? There was another one. Oh, I can't quite remember what it was, but it was just something that was just like nail in the coffin.
So it's like 3 buses at once type of thing.
Yeah, like the third one's so bad, my brain just.
So it's just like, it's completely protected you.
I know. I'm like, I just cannot deal with this.
I mean, mum guilt, parent guilt, like it's a horrible thing. And I do think, obviously, I totally get your point to the point that there could be something that, Freddie does.
Have I damaged my child?
Have you talked to him? Have you just talked to him?
I did.
Did he seem like...
So actually what I'd done is I just like told him how well he'd done with the show and tell.
Yeah.
Like first
celebrating like, for what he'd done. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you've done so well. And I was trying to gauge from him how bothered he may have been by it. He didn't seem bothered, which was like, okay, fine. Like I think we've like breezed that one. Like we've got away with it. And then the hat thing, he did like make a comment like, oh, I'm the only one that doesn't have this hat. Like, and still to this day, 3 days later, I don't have a hat because the actual official school uniform shop shuts 3 days a week.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
The second-hand uniform shop have like failed to help me properly because they were meant to leave one at reception and then they didn't.
Oh no.
Like awful. So yeah, like even talking about it now, I'm just like, oh God.
Sick by ATU. Yeah. No, I can totally understand how you mean about the parenting fails and stuff, but it's just, I think there's a lot of guilt there. And like you say, like if you have checked in with Freddie and he's all right, you've done your due diligence kind of by checking in with him, and some things like that, like we're all guilty of that happening. And there is a bit of parent guilt in there that I guess that we all take on because we want our children to be safe. We want them to have everything so they don't feel that, like, because you've referred it back to when you remember.
Yeah.
So again, it's like things and experiences you've had and how you can just feel that it's like in the pit of your stomach, isn't it? And it's like
I can feel the weight of his shoulders on me.
And I even just kind of like taking that breath there, like I can feel it for you.
Yeah.
Because I know what you mean. And it's so difficult because like you say, like whether it's part of the monthly cycle impact, like we were talking about before, of where you just can't think.
Yeah.
And where the heck have I put that? Like I have that all the time. And this is where I'm obsessed with everything has to have a place, and there has to be a place for everything.
Which is what I'm not good at. But in my head now, I'm literally just picturing the poor little summer hat in a cupboard somewhere, sitting there shouting, hello, yeah, hello, over here.
Max has put me here when he was playing with his dinosaur, and I was on the dinosaur's head.
Literally. And I've just got that image in my head of the hat chorus being
like kicked under a bed or something, yeah.
Literally, that's like my mental image right now. But I know, I'm laughing about it now, but in that depths of like that first, like, part of my cycle, I was like really feeling it. I like desperately was feeling it.
Oh God, I can really resonate with that. And I think it is something where it's interesting, actually. I think we should maybe do one on it's weird because I don't want to say mum guilt, because that's kind of the phrase that everybody uses, because I do feel it's dads have it as well. It's not just mums.
100%.
Like dads
all the time. It's
like parent guilt is a serious thing. So maybe that's something we should maybe do an episode on. But like, it's the weight of it is unbelievable. And it sticks with you. It really does. And when you're in that zone, how much forgiving can you do when you know it's not that week? It's not that week that you'll get everything right. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do you balance that? It's a really tricky one. And I think we're all worthy of forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like it's the weeks where you know that you're going to be having the bust-ups or the arguments. Like, you know, it's when you're like through gritted teeth and you just know it's coming, right? And it's like some days where I just can't make a decision. You know, oh, Friday night, should we get a takeaway? What do you want? Don't know. Can't think.
Oh my God, that's the worst conversation I had. Lawrence, like because I'm very cravey. I don't know if you are. Okay. I like have big cravings. I'm like, oh my God, I want this. Oh my God, I want scallops. Oh my God, I want like cheese on toast. Oh my God, I want, you know, baked beans in a can. Like I will go from one side to the other, like all the time. And I'll always have something in my head that I really fancy, whether it's something I can get or not.
Yeah.
As I hark back to our Ruffles discussion about Brazilian dough crisps. But Lawrence is like, what do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't have a decision? What do you mean you don't have a crate? Like, how are we supposed to order?
Yeah. How are we meant to get
How are we supposed to get, yeah. And like, I'm like, yeah, I really don't know. You need to make the decision. Like, and he's like, okay, give me three options. Like, you know, we have to kind of like do it in some sort of like distilling.
This kills Rory when I do it. And I know he gets so frustrated with me, but he'll go, Erin, what do you want? And I'm like, oh, I really don't mind. I can't choose. You choose. He'll go, okay, a curry. And I'll be like, no. And he'll be like, but you said you didn't mind. I'm like, I know, I don't mind, but I really don't want a curry.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what do you want then? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he's like, Erin, it's infuriating.
Vetoes are the way forward. This is what Lawrence and I always give vetoes as well, because we're both like that. We're both like, I don't know, I don't mind. And then we go, nah. It's like, okay, 3 vetoes. You have 3 vetoes and that's it. Like, and trying to find, we have used, you know, you can get those spinners online.
Yeah, we've got one.
We have done that for Deliveroo.
Yeah.
Because we can't make a decision.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is as well, especially with takeouts, when you've got to consider the little ones as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is so hard.
I don't know, but we do often. And this is something I do it for the children. I do it for like my own like really important life decisions. I do ip-dip.
Love a bit of
and Rory always says to me, he was like, Erin, you know that whatever one you start on or however it works, like, you know what the answer's going to be. And I'm like, no, it works every time. Don't worry about it. Like, he's like, it's the same. Like, you just know where to start. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It, do. Cat's got flu, dog's got...
Oh, you do a way more polite one than I do.
I know, that's what I do with the kids as well.
I love that. I've never heard that version. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, no, I definitely do a bit of it dip every now and then. Just helps you get over that hump.
So do you find sometimes that like your hormone like cycle like clashes with Lawrence then?
That's a really interesting question. Do you know what? And we've briefly touched on this previously, which is why we decided to do this episode. And I don't think I've noticed it. Maybe I've not been a very good partner by not noticing, but I've not really noticed like a clash. But he certainly has emotional episodes where I don't think he recognizes what's happening.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe in some way that is something, but I've not recognized like a cycle. Have you recognized any cycle in Rory?
Yeah, I've said for a number of years, like to people I speak to generally, or like to Rory himself, it's like I think like he has a 6-week cycle.
Wow, really?
And that makes it more challenging because every time that goes round, I'm at a different stage in my cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So it can lead to some real blowouts, because we are both in that peak, like grizzly stage.
Yeah.
Or it can be like really positive the other way because we're both loving and forgiving and all we want to do is please each other and I love you, all of that sort of stuff. But, you know, I can see it, and I often say to him, you know, it's fine for you to be like frustrated, pissed off, upset, whatever. And he doesn't quite understand it, but he might come in and be like, oh, I'm feeling like this. And I'm like, that's fine. Of course you'll feel like that. I feel like that all of the time when I'm in this part of my cycle. But it just doesn't seem, I don't know, I wouldn't say like acceptable in society. I just don't think it's talked about in the same way as women's cycles. Like, when we think about, like, everybody is a human, right? Have hormones. We run off hormones, like men, testosterone balanced with estrogen, women, estrogen mainly balanced with testosterone or whatever. Like, why wouldn't a man have peaks and troughs in their hormone levels, which make them feel or act a certain way?
Yeah. No, I think that's true. And I would very much encourage anybody who does know to get in touch and tell us.
Totally. I'm fascinated by it.
I would be completely fascinated if that was the case. I've never seen anything, but like you say, there's no one talking about it.
Well, exactly. But I just don't know why that would be such a weird thing.
Yeah, the concept doesn't seem illogical. It's like, it seems logical.
Especially, and you know, I see this on social media and online a lot, is lots of men now talking about things like low levels of testosterone affecting them in certain ways, and taking testosterone replacement therapy in the same way that we would take like HRT if you were like menopausal or whatever. So there must be something, and everyone going and get their bloods done to see what their hormone levels are. Like, I've had that done for me, because as women, like, we do assess that, and we've spoken about early menopause and stuff like that before, and I have had my levels done, and Rory had his done just to see it. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things, depending what time of the month for a woman you do it, they'll say something different, and it was similar for men. But, you know, it's really popular now, so I do think it might be something that is started to be spoken about more.
And I'd be really interested, actually, if we maybe looked into that, because I think that's something that, you know, it, like you're saying, like, it impacts parenting, it impacts your partnership, it impacts like your professional space. There's so many things, and maybe it is that as partners, you know, we can help that conversation, because it may be, like you're saying about talking to Rory about it and recognizing his cycle, which is amazing that you kind of like, you know, almost plotted it, you know, you figured it out. But then, you know, I wonder whether us as women, you know, people as partners in relationships or friends even, can have those conversations with people to recognize or kind of get in front of it. So it helps people kind of not feel as guilty, not as stressed.
Because I think like society is a little bit more supportive of women, like sometimes not in the best way. And we did mention previously about people sort of being like, oh, that's like, she's on her period, she's going to be acting like a gremlin or something like that. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
That gets me so much.
Oh yeah, it riles me, like really riles me. But, you know, but society is more supportive of being like, oh, well, they might be a little bit aggy or might be feeling this way.
Well, I think it's accepting and embracing the impact of that cycle, but also, you know, there's this big movement as well around the acceptability of sort of the impact of menopause and how that impacts people, and how actually it's an obligation not just of a personal individual kind of or a healthcare sort of responsibility to support. It's also the company you work for.
Yeah,
you know, there's so much more that we can do to help each other and be supportive of each other, so we can have these open conversations. A bit like you and me are like loving, you know, having these chats. But I think that's why we did this podcast, is that it's just having those open conversations. Why can't we have them with men?
Yeah,
because I really feel that we can't do anything without the people who we're up against.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't unlock something.
Self-education is like so easy now. And, you know, I think blokes are prepared to educate themselves on what they want, but maybe, you know, there's a bit of stigma around stuff like that. But, you know, this whole cycle thing, and I don't know about you, but like, it's actually really quite new to me.
Mm.
So I had like periods since I was like young. I think I started my period when I was like 11, but I didn't really like understand my cycle then.
I didn't.
Definitely had like periods of the month where I'd like crave something. It would always be like a Snickers and a cup of tea, and I knew that was like my tell. And my mum always used to say to me like, I know, because that is just what you do at a certain point. And then I went on like contraception, probably like relatively young, 16, 17, something like that. On that for a really, really long time. And then when I came off contraception, just after we got married, I actually didn't have a cycle for a long, long time. And then we needed like medical intervention to some degree to have Freddie, and nothing serious, nothing like IVF or anything like that. But I had to take meds because I just wasn't having a cycle at all. So after I had the babies, it was only really then, so between like being 17 and like nearly 30, I had no idea about what happens at each stage of the month, like emotionally, physically, all of stuff like that. So over the last few years, bearing in mind I had another baby in between and it all stopped and started again, like it's been like eye-opening.
But I think also post-children, my cycle has changed post-children. But also, I mean, I know I've mentioned it before, but because I live with an autoimmune condition with the medication I'm on, it's completely changed the impact of my cycle in terms of it's changed the way that I experience, you know, my period. But also, I think I am generally perimenopausal, and I have symptoms of that too. So it's like, it's literally like a Russian roulette. I mean, who knows what's happening each month?
Yeah.
You know, I'm fairly regular, but at the same time, I cannot tell you. It's not a constant. It's not a regular feelings, emotions, like, you know, flow, all of it. It's all,
and that's
it's all up for grabs,
really
basically.
hard though, because like you almost going in unprepared.
Absolutely, the anxiety is
time.
real,
and that's like similar for me, because it's always since the children like really scatty in terms of either, you know, your short typical cycle or like a double length, and then you're almost just like waiting, and then Rory says to me like, "You're not pregnant, are you?" And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, we start to have those sort of questions.
The fear is real as well, isn't it? Like, you do generally like, what is going on? And I think because I'm 44 this year, I'm in that kind of, and I know my mum went through menopause early. So again, I'm like, ooh, is this my time? Is this my year? Like, what's going on? And you're sort of like anticipating. And then when you're late and you're like, no, wait, what? Hold on. Wait, am I like concerned, or am I like, ooh, is this the beginning of the end?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, what?
But I love that. I love that whole thing of like, okay, like couple of days late for your period, whatever, like you're either concerned or you're not, right? Like one or the other. Like you can go weeks and weeks and weeks and like have no concern, or you'll be like the day before, you're like, oh my God, I'm definitely pregnant.
And you go through your head and you're like, no, maybe I could do it. No, you know, and it's like you go literally.
So funny. Like, I remember when I was pregnant with Max, I knew I was pregnant with Max, missed my period, waited like 2 weeks, and I knew it, and I was really putting it off. And then I was like, I really can't put this off any longer. But like I knew, I don't know how I knew, because it's not like I was regular beforehand, but it's just one of those things where you're just like, no, don't you? It's like so funny.
And it's so funny because I think there's a real, so I don't know, I've worked in reproductive rights. So there is, I've been exposed to a lot of stories. I've talked to a lot of women and trans women. Like there's lots of people that I've talked to about the cycle impact and the hormones and things like that. And there is such a breadth as well that I think a lot of people don't talk about. Because like you're saying about people going, oh, you're on your period. It's like a stereotypical view that these core symptoms are the only symptoms. But what I think we don't recognize, and this is where, you know, we're saying about conversations, I think is really powerful, because there's more to it. One of the people I remember when I worked in this charity, one of the women we were talking to, she gets blurred vision.
Oh, wow.
Just before her period, every month.
Wow.
She experiences blurred vision. So again, it's one of those things where how far is it your cycle, your hormones, your body, your chemical imbalance or balance, whichever way you want to look at it, like versus just you. Like it's kind of like, how do you separate it, or how do you keep, do you know what I mean? It's like whether you embrace it as just me being Vix and you being Erin, and it's just part of us, and that's what we experience because it's just the way our body's made up. Or do we not blame the hormones or something, or do you isolate it and kind of say, oh, that's that? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, 100%. I think there are some certain things I can just like section off and be like, that's that,
and compartmentalize it type
like,
of thing.
I know, like, there's certain times I look at my skin and I'm like, that's that. Like, that is that hormone use, whatever, or that feeling that you get where you just feel, like, I can really like attribute that to those sort of things. But there's like, you know, we've probably all got those like menstrual tracker app things, right? When they ask you, oh, what symptoms have you had? And the list is like as long as my arm.
And that's the
thing. Things.
So how do we, and this is where, again, I guess maybe, you know, it'd be interesting to hear if any of the listeners have had any thoughts around this, but how do we cope? How do we all support each other as a community, ultimately, to really embrace the fact that it isn't just one road for everybody. You know, men get it, women get it. Like, how can we all kind of make this conversation more important?
Yeah, and for me, is like, I just think like you just got to ride the wave. I think we really do worry too much, and if you're a perfectionist, right, then you do worry about, oh, why have I felt like this? Why am I good at that? Why aren't, you know, whatever. I think we just need to be like a bit more accepting. And actually for me is, you know, that week, like my period comes or whatever, it makes me feel so much better about how I felt the week before, because actually that's done now. That week of where I looked at myself and felt, oh God, I just look awful, I feel awful, I'm bloated, all this water weight, blah, 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 whatever. And then it's gone and I'm like, oh God, good, phew, right, that's not me.
And when you're in that week, when you're bloated and feeling negative and all that kind of stuff, can you get ahead in your head and go, this is just that week, or can you not?
Ooh, good question. I think at the time it's really hard. I think, and that week for me with like the eating and the not feeling good is quite triggering, because I've always had issues with like body image and like food to a very small degree, I guess. But so I find that hard. But then when I'm out of it, I almost feel better.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, because in my head, I'm thinking about the cycle and about the impact it has on someone's life. And if someone's having a pretty tough time, that week could be quite dangerous, right? That could be quite a dangerous week. So it's like, how do you navigate how you're feeling? Obviously, the things that are going on at that moment. And how do you recognize? You know, I was saying about that compartmentalizing it. I think that's what I was trying to figure out was, how do we all do that? How do we figure out let's not make a decision this week. Let's wait. Do you know what I mean? Do you just go, right, I'm not making a decision till the week after my period? Like, is it as simple as that?
Like, I find it wild that, like, you know, we always, like, maybe not so much now, but it's always a consideration. I think, oh, I've just booked a holiday. Oh, am I going to be on my period that week? Like, and especially when you were younger, it was such a big deal, right? Like, make or break.
I could totally go on for hours about this. The anxiety I had around holiday periods, because planning, the fear of like leaking.
Yes, yeah.
Because you're in the pool.
Yeah. That's really hard. That's really hard.
And like, you're wearing white all the time.
Yeah.
And the fear of like going out for dinner and sat on, you know, some lovely restaurant sofa, you know, and I genuinely, when I was a teenager, I had a huge anxiety around it.
Yeah.
Massive.
Do you know what? I would say actually more so as an adult. And I've had like, especially maybe since having the children or whatever, because when on like, I don't know, being a teenager, maybe I can't even remember that clearly. But since having the children and like the cycle's been irregular, I've had some like really crazy instances which have like really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And the children have been like privy to that because like they've been there and they've been like, "Mummy, what's going on?" Like, and like sort of stuff that like the kids will bring up now. And like this is why I've said so many times before, I really try and be open about it, because there's only so long and so much you can hide of what is like a totally normal situation that half of the world go through.
Oh my God. So I know we're sidetracking slightly. Yesterday in the car on the way home from school, so there was no trigger of the conversation, Sophia just decides to go, "Mummy, how did I get in your tummy? And what did Daddy do? Because Daddy you tell me I'm part of Daddy and I'm part of Mummy." I'm like going, "Today's not the day." I'm going, I'm not doing the flower thing. I'm not talking about the flower thing. I was not prepared at all. And I went, right, well, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to see how far I can get with this. And I just said, well, Mummy has eggs and Daddy has tadpoles and they smushed together and there you were. Anyway, how was after school club? Was that really good? You know, I was literally like, okay, I had not prepped for this. I do not know what story I wanted to tell.
That's it. You need to decide which road you're going down with the stories, don't you?
Distraction.
Yeah. Then that, I think, well, we've had a couple of variations over the years of it because like Freddie will like be really interested for a minute and then like be not. And we've sort of had like similar things. It's like, well, you're like part of Mummy, similarly part of Mummy, part of Daddy, and then we have an egg, and then the egg's in Mummy's tummy. Like you remember when Maxie was in Mummy's tummy, don't you? Yeah, and then the egg comes out like awful.
Oh God,
it's a difficult one, and I think like a funny point to end on. We're talking all about our cycles, our reproductive cycles, and then we're ending on where do babies come from, Mum?
That's like, I mean, the amount of different stories that are available or that people have created for it are brilliant. You know, some of them are insane, but oh my God, that's another can't even talk. Topic for another day, I think.
Yeah, the stork comes down and delivers the baby to the doorstep.
Although I have to say, have you seen Storks the movie?
No.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I would recommend that to anybody. There is one scene, and if you've seen it, you'll know. There's this wolf scene in it where there's two wolves and the baby. Best scene ever. You have to go see it.
Oh, right. You're going to have to go and check that out.
I'm not telling you. You just go, and you will know instantly. When you watch it, you'll know instantly what I mean. There's two wolves and the little baby in between them. And there's this big, like, scene about it. And it's, honestly, I cry with laughter every time. I've seen it 100 times. And I even seek it out sometimes when I'm feeling really stressed just to make me laugh. Because it's one of those scenes that I cannot not laugh at. It's so funny. It gets to you just in the perfect balance between hilarity and like reality. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's awesome. And it's such a good movie. Anyway, this isn't a movie recommendation show.
I love that. And do you know what? This conversation's been brilliant because it's really made me feel like a little bit better. Like we're all just like riding through life, like
God, yeah,
working it out, like hoping for the best, like we've got this, maybe we do, maybe we don't, as we always say. And like we're all living it differently.
Oh yeah.
It's like we're same but different, right?
And that's it. I think we're all a community. We've got to recognize there's so many different aspects. You know, there's so many different impacts, like things that happen to us, you know, but it's just about being kind and being, you know, respectful to yourself. And just like I was saying before about the guilt thing, I think that's something that, you know, we have kind of touched on before. And guilt's such a big thing that we have to manage as parents, as humans. And I think, you know, it's just being kind to yourself and just being gentle. Just give yourself some space. We're all human.
Yeah, absolutely. And just be kind to each other and be kind to ourselves. And if you want to be kind to us, then please leave us.
Nice little segue.
Please leave us a review. We've been getting some really lovely reviews, and it's so nice to hear, you know, how much you're all enjoying it or the conversations you want us to have. So follow, subscribe, like, review, all of that fun stuff. I don't know what's relevant these days, but any one of the above would make us really super happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks,
Cheers.
Thanks for coming over. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.